In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why you haven't hit 20k per month yet. And the reason I'm saying yet is because if you don't know who I am, I'm Jay Dillon, owner of TMT, and over the past 4 years, I've generated tens of millions of dollars for creators on OnlyFans. And in that time, I've also generated over 1 billion views just in 2025 alone. And the reason why I'm saying yet is because in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how I am helping my creators achieve 20k per month on OF. And hopefully, if you follow everything you see in this video, you can too. Right, so just before we get onto the first point, I think it's important to understand who is this video actually for. So who is this gonna help? Now, this video isn't gonna help OF creators that are maybe just starting out, maybe creators that are earning a couple $100, a couple thousand. Maybe this isn't the best video for you because yes, this will help your account, but it's not what your account needs at the start. If you are starting up, you just need to get your content out there first of all, right? This is like the nitty gritty of the creators that are maybe, you know, past the 10k mark, in the 15, 16, you know, but struggling to hit that 20k mark, because once you've actually hit 20k, you can't say you've hit 20k, right? And who doesn't want to hit 20k a month on OF, right? So this is for creators specifically that are struggling within the 10 to 15k mark, and you are trying to hit 10k. The reason why is because this stuff is the stuff that you can implement, and based off the size of your account, it's going to have a big impact. So for example, poor fan retention is the first thing we're going to talk about, okay? So if you are just starting out, yes, your fan retention is important, and if you can have these fundamentals on lockdown from day one, amazing, but it's actually not going to change anything drastically, okay? So this is for creators that have a couple thousand followers on, subscribers on OF, that have, making 10, 15K. If you add these stuff in, because these are the stuff that you are most likely missing out on to hit 20K, this is going to have a big impact on your account, okay? So we've identified who this video is for, okay? So if you're not in that area, this video probably isn't the best for you. But if you are in the 10 to 15K, have a look at this, because we're talking about poor fan retention and how you can actually fix this and the stuff that you can implement today to improve this, okay? So the first thing, and bearing in mind, if I'm trying to write this as simple as I possibly can, so if it seems obvious, it probably because it is, but people don't actually do the obvious, right? The results you're looking for is in the work you're avoiding. Everyone knows what they need to do, but no one actually does it. But I'm just highlighting what the exact things you should be doing, okay? So to improve poor fan retention, the first thing you want to think about is first impression, okay? Now this is your first interaction with this fan. So what does the fan see the minute they subscribe to you? The minute they're in your chats, what happens, right? What do they see? And this is usually where you lose a lot of your fans to begin with, because they're put off straight away, okay? Your first impression is everything. And also, when a fan first subscribes, I'm pretty sure the number is the first 48 hours is usually when a fan spends the most. Now, obviously you get the outliers, the whales that stay for months on end, but the majority of your fans will spend within the first 48 hours. Now, first interaction, first impression is everything, because if your first impression of someone is that you do not like them, the last thing you're going to do to that person is give that person money. And the whole objective of this is to improve how much money you're making. So your first impression is probably not the best. Have a look at that, right? Genuinely have a look on your account. What happens to every fan that subscribes? Have a look at all the fans that have subscribed. What is the very first message they see? What happens, right? What is that interaction looking like? Are they just getting ignored straight away? Are they just getting bombarded with pay-per-views? That is terrible, okay? Now, the second thing you can do to improve poor fan retention is to stand out, okay? The last thing you want to do is to be branded as just everyone else, because a lot of these subscribers, they are not only just subscribed to you, okay? So they're probably subscribed to tens, if not hundreds of other creators. So if you do not stand out, you're just gonna be ignored like the rest of them, okay? The creators that make the most money within the chats are the creators that stand out, okay? Now these are the few ways that you can stand out. Personalized opener, humanize, longer chats, humor, and sales timing. So personalized opener, okay? This is, again, all of this is very obvious, but are you actually even doing this, okay? Or when a fan subscribes, do they actually have personalized openers? When you start, I'm gonna go back down into here when it says daily greetings, but when you first speak to your existing fans, what is happening? Are you just sending, hey babe? Or are you actually going the extra mile and putting in their name, starting the conversation off with past chats that you've had in your notes, stuff like this, make it more personalized. Are you sending voice notes with their name in it? That's obviously way better than just sending a random message that you could send to anyone, okay? Humanize. Now, this is something where you can So if you understand a fan's journey on OF, right, he's speaking to multiple girls, right, multiple models, creators, chatters, whatever, right, and they're all having the same sequence. It's just the same, hey, how are you, what are you doing? Oh, I made this video, do you want to see it? It's so boring, and they can actually predict this, right? This is what people mean when they say OF is getting saturated, because it's just getting more competitive. There's a lot more people doing the same thing. So to stand out, you have to do something that is different. And humanize is a great one, because this is interrupting that pattern of sequence. A fan subscribes, hey, how are you? Do you want to see this? That's boring. If you say, hey, first of all, personalize your opener, hey, you already stand out. And then within that chat, you throw off the sequence of, you start talking about stuff that no one else talks about. Maybe, talk about a story. Say, oh, this morning I locked myself in the bathroom, it was so embarrassing, whatever. Make that person think, I am actually speaking to a woman here, I'm actually speaking to a human, right? You need to humanize it, stop being robotic in your chats. And the third thing, that you can do to improve, to stand out, is longer chats, okay? Actually have a conversation with these people. Don't just have one word answers or very short sentences. This is something that is so boring, right? How are you going to get someone to spend money on you if you can't even be bothered to actually have a chat with them, okay? Humor, pretty self-explanatory. If you make someone laugh, they're going to be way more likely that they like you, right? You like people that make you laugh. That's a good one. Sales timing, again, this goes back into the opener and first impression. Are you just selling to these people as soon as you possibly can, or are you setting them up? Are you going through a sequence? Are you going through, are you telling a story? What are these? Do you even understand why these fans are buying to begin with? Because just because you sell something doesn't mean it's good. Sometimes you can sell in a way that it hinders your future sales, because if a fan is buying something because they think they're getting a bargain on it, they're going to expect the next thing to also be a bargain. You do want fans to be thinking, I'm getting something at a good price, because then when you try and upsell, increase the price, they're not going to like that. You need them to be they need to be invested in a story of, they're curious of what could happen next. So if they're buying your first pay-per-view with the intention of what could this be and what could be next, when you try and sell what could be next, you're going to be able to charge way more. So how you charge way more is by adding value and timing your sales perfectly, okay? Sales timing is a big one to stand out, because a lot of these fans just get bombarded with pay-per-views, and they're just like, all these other chatters, they're in the race to be the cheapest. You do not want to be that. You want to add in value into your content and be at the race to be the most expensive, because obviously those are the creators that make the most money, okay? Number 3, maintaining connection, okay? Now this is, again, if you have poor fan retention, it's obviously because there's something happens within that fan's journey on your account where they've not liked it and left. Okay, that's the only reason people leave, is because they're not getting enough value from you, essentially. Okay, that's why they will not subscribe or stay subscribed for a longer period of time. Maintaining connections, there's 3 key ways to do this, okay? So daily greetings, I touched on this before, okay? But when you're daily greeting your fans, use notes, right? So when you're actually having these initial chats, these first impression chats, write everything down. But more importantly, ask the right questions. Ask loads of stuff like, where are they from? Like more specific stuff like, okay, what is their favorite football team? Right, find out what it is. If it's Manchester United, check up when's the last time Man United played and bring that into the conversation, because that makes you stand out. It's way more personalized. All of this, again, ties in together, okay? This is how you maintain connection, because if you're now bringing stuff up that you've spoke about with this fan in the past, I promise you no one else is doing that. So if you just do that alone, you're winning, okay? You're having a great time if you're doing that just alone, okay? Try to give a fuck, right? That's a big one. Just pretend, right? You don't have to be so boring and bland in your chats. You can pretend like you actually care. Oh my God, Man United won. I'm rooting for the next game. Whatever. It's cringy, but if it makes you money, who gives a shit? Do you know what I mean? You need to just pretend like you care. But again, if you're not on your account chatting, have a look at these chats. Do these chatters actually, are they chatting in the way that they, make the fan believe that they care? Or is it just, oh no way, babe, do you want to see this pay-per-view? That is not good, okay? And the best way to give it F is to talk about your own interests. So if this brother is talking about Man United and all this stuff, talk about your favorite stuff, the stuff that you like doing. Obviously, if it's your chat team, they need to have this information. If they don't have this information off you, it's probably because they don't know what they're doing. But we'll move from that. You need to be talking about your own interests within the chats, because this actually also makes it interesting for the chatter on the account. If they're not just having the same boring questions, if they're actually talking about interests and they can, start giving perspectives in chats. It can get like that, right? But that is how you maintain a connection. If you can have those kind of chats with someone, they're obviously going to stick around, right? Better than the boring just, hey, how you doing? Do you want to see this? No, goodbye. That is not good. Right, so the next thing I want to talk about is the fact that you might not know how to actually sell, okay? So the reason why this is actually important, first of all, I hope you lot can see this and there's no glare, because I think there was a glare last time, but we move. If you can't see, that says don't know how to sell. And first of all, why this is actually important is because if you break down OF as a business, okay, it's about bringing in customers, so marketing and sales, which is chatting. So chatting, people just say, yeah, chatting, my chatting's good, but it's all about sales. How is your sales though? Do you actually understand how to sell? And niche specific in OnlyFans terms. How can you get the most out of these fans, okay? So the first way I want to talk about is scripts, okay? And what I mean by scripts is, what is scripts? Everyone says that they create scripts. I need scripts. Scripts makes you loads of money. But what actually is scripts? You need to objectively define what these things actually mean, okay? Especially if you're creating them. Because if you're creating scripts, you don't ever just want to be taking a few pictures saying, yeah, where should I whack these? I've done some scripts. You need to understand what this is, because this will directly make you way more money if you understand what it is that you're actually doing, okay? So, this is the stuff that makes you money, and it's very high leverage, okay? This is the point I'm trying to make here. This is very high leverage. If you do this once, if you make one script, you can sell that over and over again. So the better you make that and the more money that can potentially make you, if you do that once good with a good team behind you, knowing how to sell that script, you're going to make a lot more money, okay? So don't just say, I'm making scripts, actually understand what scripts are. And what we mean by scripts, our definition, is moving a fan through an experience while upselling at every point, okay? So the idea isn't around the price, it's around the experience, because that's the input and the output is the upselling. Everyone wants to upsell. This word, upsell your fans. My last agency wasn't upselling. Well, what are they trying to upsell, and how are they trying to sell to this fan? So I think I made a point before where it's, why is a fan buying? Is a fan buying because they think they are just getting a bargain, or are they going through an experience while they're getting upsold at every point? Does that make sense? So you have the start. I'm going to break down what the actual, the script structure is, but essentially that is what this is. And if you're creating scripts, you need to understand that every bit of that content, every picture, video, whatever it may be, that is going to be sold with the intention of an experience, right? So the better you can make that experience within that content, the more you're going to be able to upsell. Okay, you understand that now, okay? Now I'm going to go down into what we actually mean by scripts, okay? So you have the transition only after getting green lights. This is how you improve this, okay? So transition from the, hey, how you doing, the intro, the first impression, from that bit, from when a fan first gets on your page, the transition, you need to have green lights. So now green lights are very specific to the actual the niche of the model and what the fan actually wants, which is down here. But you need to have green lights. You can't just say, hey, how you doing? He says, hey. That can't be your transition, right? Your transition cannot be from a hey. It has to be something that he has said to you, where if you sell or if you start the experience, he's going to buy into it, okay? The last thing you want is to be saying to your fans, hey, I'm just bored watching Netflix in bed, and he doesn't believe you. Do you think he's going to spend money on you? Obviously not. So you need to transition only after green lights, okay? The first and the second thing is start off slow. Now this is super obvious, okay? Obviously the first pay-per-view you sell in a script is always going to be the lowest priced. But again, why? I've spoke about this just before. Why are you getting your fans to buy this? Low price pay-per-view means that he's buying that without even thinking about it. And if you can master that, the next thing you try to sell for a bit more, he's going to be under the same mindset of, I don't care about the price at this point. I just want to know what the hell it is that we are going through right now. What is this? What am I invested in? I just want to find out this. I want to experience this experience you are putting them through. Does that make sense? And then number three, we have increased price plus more value. So when it comes to upselling, right, essentially, you're obviously trying to make more money from the fan, okay? And the only way you increase price in business in general is if you add more value, okay? You don't want to decrease value. You don't want to make the content worse, because you can't obviously charge more for that. You have to charge less for that. And you never want to be competing to be the cheapest. You want to be in competition to be the most expensive, okay? So the only way you're going to do that is by value. The fan has to understand that the fan understands, first of all, and you need to understand that this is just a value exchange. When you are going through a script selling process, you're just exchanging value. He's getting something, you're getting something. You're getting cash, he's getting content. That content has to be valuable enough for him to spend, for then you to upsell. okay? So if you want to increase price, you have to understand the value you are actually exchanging in return, which is why I said before, if you don't understand what you are actually doing when you are making a script, the content's not going to be as good as it possibly could be, and that means the value isn't as high as it could be. Higher the value in your content, higher the experience. Again, experience is the value as well. The better your team is at selling this experience to your fans, the more you are going to be able to upsell, okay? Now, number two, now this is how you actually, you know, can upsell and find green lights within fans, right? Because you need to understand what these fans actually want. Again, this is part of sales, okay? If you're going to try and sell to someone, you need to understand a lot about them. And the way that we did this is characterization, okay? Hate that word, but we move. I'm actually going to bring up my laptop for this. I can send this across to you guys because we have characterized a lot of fans in certain ways, just so it makes it easier for our chat team to sell to them, so they understand what they are actually, you know, what do these people actually want, okay? So again, I can send this to you, but I'm going to quickly read through all of these, okay? So we have the lover boy. This fan wants to be in a relationship with a model. We must gather as much info as possible. We want to know every single thing about this fan. We must treat every fan like these will make us the most money, right? So meaningful conversations. This needs to be high quality. The lover boy people is a characterization. Number two, right? And bear in mind, just zoom out very quickly, right? This is done once, so you just need to characterize your fans once, and then you only change or you update when they change character, okay? So you identify your fans using stuff like this, and you just do this once properly. But unless they start changing their characteristics, that's when you change character, okay? Transactional. We need to know what type of video this fan likes. Can be good to sell customs to, okay? So these are the transactional fans. Then you have like the slave fans. What does he like to call him? What do we refer ourselves as? Very dominant. You know what these guys are like. And then you have the dominator, right? This is like a mindset issue, right? We need to break him down to a lover boy by matching aggression, okay? And now number five. Is that number five? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we're winning. Number 5 is the time waster. Now, these are the people with money issues. Once you could just, you know, guilt trip these guys basically, right? Just guilt trip the time wasters. You're never going to really have anything long term with these guys. Just guilt trip them, try and get money out of them. And if you can't, the time wasters anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But that is the number 2 point of this board, which is fan characterization. Third time lucky, okay? But if you want me to send you that, just so you can actually have a look at it yourself and characterize your fans and put them in categories so you actually know what they want, drop me a message on my Instagram. It should be in the description. I can send that across to you, no way. And the number 3, very simple and very easy, other ways to get paid, right? It's not just through messages. You can do lives, you can do campaigns, you can do all that sort of stuff. I've got a full video of me breaking down our live strategy where you can make 1.5k within 30 minutes. I've got a full video of me breaking that down. Have a look at that. But that is number 3 on how you can understand how to sell more. Right, so the next thing we're going to go through is why your fans don't engage. Now, obviously, if you're at an account making 10, 15k, right, if you're having 20% of your fans that aren't engaging, or if you could just improve by 20% how much your fans are engaging, that's a huge difference, right? That's a couple $1,000 if your account's making 15k, okay? Now, this is why this is important, because at that point, you understand how to get subs in. If you're making 15k, 10, 15k, right, and you can't hit that 20k a month, you're doing the first part, right, which is getting the subs in. That's good. You now need to think about the transition from that, right? You need to understand what happens next is when you engage with them, and how do you actually get them to engage, okay? Now, there's 3 ways that I'm going to cover in this video, okay? Now, again, a lot of this stuff I've said in previous videos and even in this video today, like humanized chats. I've said this before. I've said this about other things. This improves other things. This is good because you can do this one thing and it improves engagement and improves other stuff on your account. So this is a high ROI activity, right? You are leveraging your time, you're leveraging your actions to bring you in the most back. So this is a leverage point that a lot of creators struggle with, is stuff like this. But I'm going to quickly go into a little bit more detail on this. So number 1, voice notes is massive, okay? To get people engaged. To get people to engage, voice notes is a cheat code, because you have to understand, like I said before, you are competing against other chatters that are trying to get these fans to also be active in the chats to engage. So now what people do is just, hey, how are you doing? They just send mass messages, conversation stars, pictures. All of that is now saturated. That doesn't really work, right? It works to a certain degree, but if you want to start, improving the reply rate, you need to start being clever with the actual messages you are sending, the conversation starters you are sending, because not only can you send voice notes, but these voice notes are obviously pre-recorded. So now something that we do is we send all of our models specific voice notes to create and copy in one sitting. Might be 10, might be 15, might be 50. If it takes you an hour, just get that done once and your engagement is going to improve because of that. So it's worth your time doing that, okay? So we have set voice notes that we have for specific creators, all of our creators, sorry, but the voice notes are specific to their brand, their niche. We continue that on, like I've said before. And we use smart messages on our CRM. So our CRM is Inflow. On there, you can have smart messages. You can like kind of have messages that unsend after an hour automatically. You can have categories of fans, so whales get these specific voice notes, time wasters get these. Remember the characterization, the lover boys get X, Y, and Z, time wasters get these. We don't just send one mass message to everyone because not everyone's the same in your chats. We need to have them in categories, and the best way to do that is through smart messages on Inflow. If you're not on a CRM and you're running your account by yourself, just download Inflow. It's honestly worth it because you can have these features. And if your agency, they obviously will have a CRM like Inflow or something else. And if they're not doing this, then what are they actually doing? They're wasting your time and their time, okay? The second thing you can improve is your feed posts, right? Your perceived value. Now, if you have a poor feed, and what I mean by this is loads of explicit content on there, loads of like spammy games, and not authentic, right? If it's bad quality posts as well, that is everything. Because go back to the last board, first impression, when a fan subscribes, this is the first thing they see. Now, if your page is too explicit, if you're showing too much, why would they ever go into the chats? They're just going to get what they want and leave you alone. But if your feed is low quality posts, if it's looking spammy, if it's looking too transactional, you're going to lose all the Loverboy fans, all the whales, all those people, because they are sick of seeing stuff like that. They do not want to see someone who's just, you know, the perceived value is low. Again, this is why you can't upsell, because you're just giving everything for free, or your feed post is poor quality. This is why you can't charge the high prices. Why can Louis V, like I've said before, I've used this analogy before, I want to use it again. Why can Louis V charge 5k for a bag when Primark charges £5? It is just perceived value. When you walk into a Louis V shop, you just know you're going to spend a lot more money than if you go to Primark. That is just perceived value. That is all it is. It's just psychology. But you can improve that with your feed. Okay. Now, humanized chats. I've already spoke about this. No BS chats, right? You don't want to be having bollocks chats, okay? You do not want that. You want to actually be having interesting chats. Not you yourself, but your team. Your sales team should be doing that because it brings in more money. You need to be humanizing chats. You do not want the fans to be bored of the same sequence that every other creator, their chatters, are doing, because those are your competition. So if you're humanizing your chats, you're standing out, and they're going to engage with you, which is the most important thing, which is the whole point of this. All of these things, if you add just one of them, you're winning. If you add all three of these, you're having a great time. Right, so this is the last thing I want to cover for why you might not be able to hit 20k a month and what we do to break past that, okay? So it says no brand, but I don't want you to I don't want to say the word you don't have a brand and then you to look at me and just think, what does that mean? Because this is what a lot of people say. A lot of agency owners, they don't actually know what a brand is. They don't know what it means to build one. But they say to you, they say, we're going to help you build a brand, just so they get this dopamine hit of, I've said the word brand. It's just a buzzword in the space. If you don't know what it means, don't think about it. But if you do want to know what it means, this is what we do to improve not having a brand. This is what we do to create a brand. So the first thing that you want to understand, or one of the first things, right, this isn't in no particular order, this is just a few things, okay? So we're starting off with no common theme, okay? Now this means, what I mean by this is cadence. Now, any brand or any kind of large following that is recognizable, or large creator, sorry, that is recognizable, that has a big audience, they have a cadence. And now what do I mean by cadence? By cadence, what I mean is rhythm, okay? So if I'm posting a YouTube video every single day on YouTube, right, I am now creating rhythm, right? Every day this happens, this happens, this happens, right? What is it that you are trying to do, and when does that happen? You need to measure that. And does it happen over regularly? What is the pattern, right? So that pattern becomes a rhythm, and that is what cadence means. You have no cadence, there is no consistency. Without consistency, you're not going to have any brand. Without a cadence, you're not going to have a brand. The reason why this is important as well is because if you're attracting people to watch your content, to be invested in you, but you are not regularly allowing them to predict when they can next see you, they're not going to care, right? If you show yourself to people more and more and more and more, you become more familiar, and this is how you create a common theme of your content is going to be getting posted on every Monday. For example, let's say you was a big YouTuber, okay? You had a YouTube niche, you were blowing up on YouTube, but you made it very clear to your fans and your audience that every single Monday you're gonna have this game show style video, for example, okay? Now every Monday, these people can expect something, so they're gonna be more invested into you, which creates a brand, okay? Number 2, what your audience actually likes. So now this is data driven. Now, how you do this is you genuinely just look at what is already working for you, because there will be something that's working. It might be low numbers, it might not be the numbers that you want in terms of views, in terms of engagement, but have a look at your content and have a look at what does your audience actually like, right? Start recognizing patterns within that, and then just double down on what is working well and stop doing the stuff that isn't working that well. And then week on week keep doing that, because after a month, after 2 months, after 6 months, you're going to be in a spot where you've had 6 months of improvement based off data. Now, why data is important is because if you don't track, you don't care. If you can't master what you don't measure. And essentially, to build a brand, you need to master this. So the only way you're going to master this is if you actually measure it, okay? So you need to understand what does your audience like, because you are creating content to gain their attention. You're not going to do that by accident, right? No one goes viral by accident. It's all scientific, right? You can genuinely look at numbers and predict when you're going to go viral. But to do that, you need to start tracking your engagement. You need to start tracking your most viral views, your most viral videos, sorry, get 10 of them. The 10 of your most viral videos, get 10 of those, and have a look at patterns between those videos. What are you doing? Because you'll be doing something common in all those videos. There'll be a common reason why people like this. Now, more the better, because you get all of those, and then the next time you create content, you make sure you double down on those things that you've just found in those 10 most viral videos, and then you keep doing that every single week, okay? That's how you improve that, and that's how you understand what your audience actually likes, so you can tailor your content to get more of them, okay? Now, intentions. This is like the most basic one, because a lot of people are copying instead of creating. Just because you are getting, if your agency, for example, is sending you reels to copy, like Sophie Rain's TikToks, for example, right? There is a time and place for that, because that's good filler content if you don't literally have zero idea what to post. That's still better than not posting anything, don't get me wrong. But to get past the 20K mark, you need to understand that copying is going to have you stuck with everyone else, because that's what everyone else does. They just copy, right? So you need to learn how to steal like an artist instead. Have a look at your niche, what brand you want to create, or like get 10 creators, more the better, get 10 creators that you would want to be like, okay? Get 10 of them, and again, go through all these creators, start recognizing patterns. What do you like? Why are these creators viral? Why did this video work for this creator? Do that for all of them. Start recognizing patterns, start writing this down. Then that's what you need to steal, not the actual exact video itself with the exact same sound or whatever. You need to go deeper into that. And then you do that, you understand what is working within your marketplace, the audience that you're trying to get, what is working with those viewers. And then you just add your own interests and hobbies, you make that authentic. And then if you do that over a longer time frame, if you keep improving by actually tracking, doing the damn thing, building a regular cadence of every week, every day, you're gonna be posting X amount. And also you are now creating authentic content based off viral trends with your own spin on it. You build a brand, okay? If you didn't know that, you know that now. But hopefully everything in this video, any of it makes any sense and you can actually apply it to your account. If you do apply this to your account, or if you do try anything that you've seen in this video and it works, please drop me a message on my Instagram or just in the comments down below. Come back in a couple of weeks if this has actually worked. Because again, I can tell you all of this, but a lot of you probably won't even do this. But the ones that do it and do see any results, it will be mint if you can let me know, because it just kind of further backs what I am doing, that I'm doing the right thing, okay? So that is all for this video. If you want us to go into any more detail with this, you want to have a chat to me about how we can tailor this to you or how you can tailor this for yourself or whatever, my Instagram is in the description, sorry. But that is all for this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.